Hey everyone, hope you're all keeping well. Happy Thursday. This is this week's Facebook Live, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about how to structure your social media posts for maximum engagement. This applies very much also to any of you bloggers. So, any blog posts that you might be writing, you will get some tips here, so it might be valuable to tune in for that also. I'll just hang on here now for a moment and see if we have anyone joining before we kick off. No, I think we're good to go. So, hey Lucy, how are you? I spoke too soon. So, yeah, this is a very important topic. Most of us here in the group, I'm familiar with a lot of you. I know what it is that you're doing in terms of, an online business, and most of us, I would say, probably 90% or more of us, are leaning quite heavy on social media as a means to build our brand and to promote whatever we're promoting or sell any products that we might be selling. In recent years, obviously, social media has exploded. It's become a much more integral part of how you position a brand online and how you promote your product offering. So, for any of you that are in the same space as myself, for just high ticket affiliate marketing, where you are working on building a personal brand, this is going to be a really important one for you. It's something that I spend a lot of time on. I'm constantly refining it, but there is a structured approach that you should take whenever you're putting out content on your social media channels, whether it be Facebook, or possibly Instagram as well. I know some of you are using, but equally for YouTube as well. In your descriptions, this stuff definitely applies. So do take note of it. So the general approach from my perspective, whenever you're writing a post for social media, not surprisingly, is that it should have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you should always take that format. Social obviously gives us a bit more flexibility because your posts might be short form. Sometimes a lot of them could be long form, but for me, I would always kind of take the same sort of approach in that, you're going to get more engagement if you structure it in the right way. If the messaging is there in the right way, you're likely to get people to stay with you and obviously to go through the post in full. So I suppose that there's different type of posts that you could be putting out, and in particular, I'd be talking about value posts where you're putting out something that is there to educate people, and obviously to present yourself as an authority figure. Where you're really trying to, I guess, captivate a particular audience. You're trying to, I suppose, explain to them what it is that you do. You're trying to address a particular challenge that they might have, and I've talked about this in previous lives as well. So it's really important to structure it the right way. To start off, a good headline I think is always important. A lot of people don't use headlines in their social media posts. I personally think that it works really well. If you think about any blog posts that you might read or any email that you get, for instance, the subject line or the title of that is really important, and that's often what gets you that's often what captures your interest. So I personally would put in a title of sorts that at least tells people what the subject matter of the post is. Then you're going to start off with a brief introduction. A question is always good because that kind of gets people thinking about what it is you're going to tee up for your post. And then you kind of get into more about the topic itself. So addressing the issue is the main thing. So for me, for instance, just as an example, you'll see a recent post that I put out was about objections to your own success, which was a really long form post. But, the length of my post varied quite a bit, but depends on the context and the type of topic. But this particular one, I had quite a bit to say in it. And you'll see this is a good example of where, it has a very clear introduction where I talk about the issue. I talk about me personally, and I will say this is really important. I always find whenever I bring in some personal insights, I draw on personal experience, and that tends to get that bit more engagement. Remember, guys, this is social media as well. People are crazy about knowing, I guess, getting a snapshot of your personal life, things that you've experienced. So any little insights that you can give them is bound to kind of keep them that bit more engaged. So do keep that in mind. So framing the issue or the challenge that a person might have is really crucial in the opening stage. From there, you're going to get into a specific example. So you'll see that I did this in my recent post where I literally call out example and I give them a very clear example of you know, a challenge that I had in terms of, you know, objections to my own success in the past. So it's quite clear what the problem is or the challenge is, and a lot of that will resonate with people. And from there, then you're going to go on to, you know, actually explain to them what steps they need to take to overcome that same problem in their own lives. So there is that structured approach. You know, following that, then you're going to have your conclusion where, you know, you should always have a good, strong call to action in the conclusion, which compels them then to reach out for more information. For me personally, what I'm trying to do in my posts a lot of the time is there's two key goals. Obviously, engagement is a big part of it, but I'm trying to do two key things. Number one is inspire people to realize what's possible. They may be going through the same thing. They may have the same problem or the same challenge. Everybody's looking for a solution to something. So if you can inspire them to realize what's actually possible in their own lives and take action, that's number one. And then number two, really important, is to generate curiosity about you. So again, you are building a personal brand. You want people to become curious about what it is that you have to say and then what it is you have to offer. So you want people to go through your post in full and walk away thinking, you know, that really got to me. I really got some good value from that. I want to know more about this person. And ultimately what you want is for somebody to message you to say, hey, I saw your recent post, or I've been following your content. You know, you obviously really know what you're talking about in this space. I really want to know a bit more about what you do. And that obviously then sparks off a conversation. So for anyone who's generating leads, and I know most of their generating leads, this is really, really relevant. So the way that you frame your messaging in your social media posts is extremely important, because ultimately that's what's going to get people reaching out to you. That's what's going to generate those conversations, which ultimately leads to sales. So keep all of those key things in mind. The structured approach is really important. Start off with a strong introduction. Give people some personal insights. Tell them about your own experience, because that's really what they want to see. That's the meat of your post. Give them the steps that they need to take to overcome a problem. And then in your conclusion, it's good to summarize, but certainly a good, strong call to action, telling them this is what you need to do next. You know, and obviously give them the opportunity to reach out to you to learn a little bit more. You know, be really transparent with people and let them know, you know, I am here to help you. So I have a product, you know, it can help you. You're not obviously doing any direct selling. These posts are not designed to sell. You're selling without selling is what I should say, really. What you want to do really is educate people and, you know, to give them value in that sense. The product conversation comes at a much later stage. There are obviously posts that you may put out at some point where, you know, you're describing your product specifically. But for these type of value posts, like in particularly for a blog post, you want to really try and address people's pain points, and you want to get them curious. So guys, I hope that was a little bit helpful for you. It's a real snapshot, I suppose, of how I approach all of my posts on social media. And this is really important. It definitely works well if you do it in the right way. One thing as well to remember is that you should always reflect on the posts that you've written. So I regularly go back through a lot of the social posts that I've written, through the blog posts as well. I look at my analytics to see what was generating good traffic. And I try and analyze what was resonating with people. You know, why did people engage with this post versus the next post, which may not? And, you know, my engagement is generally mid-range. It's not huge, but what I'm trying to do is target a very specific audience. So, you know, reaching people with a particular message who have a need for what it is that I have to offer. So always reflect on, you know, the learnings from each of your posts. There's something to take away from each one. Always go back and make sure that you, you know, apply that to the next one. You know, it's all a game of improvement. So guys, that's it for today. Anybody have any comments on it, please leave them below. Feel free to reach out to me, challenge me on any of this stuff. You know, if you have your own experiences are really, really valuable here as well. We're all here to learn, so by all means do share them. And, you know, I'll happily come back and, you know, we can have a conversation about what works and what doesn't. But that's it for now, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you in the next one.